welcome back to Spinning Iris. It is day 13 of Banned Book Month, which means it is time for chapter 13 of Candide by Voltaire. Now in the last chapter, the old woman finished telling her story to Cunegonde and Candide, and now we're about to find out what happens next on their voyage to the New World. Are you ready? Let's go. Chapter 13. How Candide was forced to leave the fair Cunegonde and the old woman. After hearing the old woman's story, the fair Cunegonde treated her with all the respect due to a person of her rank and merit. Accepting her proposal, she asked all the passengers, one after another, to relate their adventures. She and Candide admitted that the old woman was right. "It's a great pity," said Candide, "that the wise Pangloss was hanged, contrary to custom in an auto da fe. He would have told us admirable things about the physical and moral evils that cover the earth and the sea, and I would have felt strong enough to venture a few respectful objections." As each passenger told his story, the ship continued to advance. They landed at Buenos Aires. Cunegonde, Captain Candide, and the old woman called on the governor, Don Fernando de Ibarra y Figueroa y Mascarenas y Lampourdos y Souza. This great lord had the pride befitting a man who bore so many names. He spoke to people with the noblest disdain. He carried his nose so high, raised his voice so mercilessly, adopted such an imposing tone, and affected such a haughty bearing that every one who greeted him was tempted to hit him. He had a furious lust for women. Cunegonde seemed to him the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. The first thing he did was to ask if she was the captain's wife. Candide was alarmed by the way he asked this question. He did not dare say she was his wife, because in fact she was not. He did not dare say she was his sister, because she was not that either, and although this little white lie was once quite fashionable among the ancients, and can still be useful to the moderns, his soul was too pure to betray the truth. "Lady Cunegonde," he said, "will soon do me the honour of becoming my wife, and we beg your excellency to be so kind as to celebrate our wedding." Don Fernando de Ibarra y Figueroa y Mascarenas y Lampourdos y Souza stroked his moustache, smiled malevolently, and ordered Captain Candide to go off and inspect his troops. Candide obeyed, and the governor remained with Lady Cunegonde. He declared his passion to her, and vowed he would marry her the next day, in the church or otherwise, however it might please her charms. Cunegonde asked for a quarter of an hour in which to collect her thoughts, consult the old woman, and make up her mind. The old woman said to her, "Madam, you have 72 generations of nobility, but not one penny. You now have a chance to become the wife of a man who's the greatest lord in South America, and has a very handsome mustache. Are you in any position to pride yourself on your unshakable fidelity? You've been raped by the Bulgars, and a Jew and an Inquisitor have enjoyed your favors. Misfortune gives us certain rights. I confess that if I were in your place, I'd have no qualms about marrying the governor and making Captain Candide's fortune." While the old woman was speaking with the prudence that comes with age and experience, a little ship was seen entering the harbor. On board it were a magistrate and a number of police officers. Here is what had happened. The old woman had been quite right in suspecting that it was a conventual Franciscan who had stolen Cunegonde's money and jewels in the town of Badajoz when she and Candide were fleeing together. The monk tried to sell some of the precious stones to a jeweler. The merchant recognized them as belonging to the Grand Inquisitor. Before being hanged, the Franciscan confessed to having stolen them. He described the people he had robbed and the direction in which they were headed. It was already known that Cunegonde and Candide had fled. They were traced to Cadiz. A ship was sent in pursuit of them without delay. This ship was now in the harbor of Buenos Aires. The rumor spread that the magistrate was going to come ashore, and that he and his men were pursuing the murderers of the Grand Inquisitor. The prudent old woman instantly saw what had to be done. "You can't flee," she said to Cunegonde, "and you have nothing to fear. You're not the one who killed the Inquisitor. Besides, the governor loves you, and won't let anyone mistreat you. Stay here." She then hurried to Candide and said to him, "Flee, or within an hour you'll be burned." There was not one moment to lose, but how could he part from Cunegonde, and where could he take refuge? And that's the end of chapter 13. Well, he found Cunegonde again, and now he has to leave her. We'll find out what happens next for Candide tomorrow. Hope you'll join me then. Take care. Bye-bye.